Cheers guys, how's it going? Rotary valve 10-inch manifold, reasonably priced. More about that later. What I've got here is yellow pinasco 26mm carburetor. Try get it over Italy directly, eBay or shops in Italy. It's then way cheaper than in the Middle European shops. Ooh, that's not the correct yellow. How is that? That's unboxed. Sorry to interrupt, guys. First, cheers. As I was on it using one of these carburetors, dear Pinasco, I've got a question. Say 26mm. If you just take a tool to measure it, you'll simply find out that it is just 25. That's not 26. How come? Aren't you worried that your reputation is damaged? Is this really needed? Cutting. Let's zoom in. Ooh. Where's my pointer? There's my pointer. Look at that. Pinasco. Pinasco. It must be good. But it's still just a spaco with Pinasco stickers. Pinasco doesn't make carburetors. Pinasco is a dealer, a Vespa part dealer. What would I check at a new carburetor, no matter if it is spaco or spaco Pinasco labeled? It is. Let's get some light first. Light from the sides. That looks way better. What should you check? First of all, is it with or without oil pump? Every carburetor has this drill, but only the one with oil pump has the horizontal drill. Because the oil comes along the casing, then goes up here, and it needs this horizontal bore to get into the intake, into the engine. It comes out here. So we know now this is not for oil pump. If it would be for oil pump, just put in some sealing mass and close it. I recommend checking if I would check, for instance, this spot here. The good old Spaco dell'Orto carburetors do have an edge here, and this one doesn't. It is missing. What is it for? It is to prevent that the carburetor screw that sits here squeezes the slide. Because you see, this edge here is already where the slide runs. If the screw squeezes it, then the slide maybe gets stuck or can't move freely, or you cannot tighten the screw properly to prevent the slide from getting stuck. So I recommend you just remove here this edge, prevent this squeeze. I would check if these holes and the thread is properly done and clean. It is, because I saw 28mm SI carburetors where this was not really well done. It was not cleaned, was not cut out properly. So also check this. Check the jets. Is it a standard 160/55? Yes, it is. The thread here is fine. And what's this jet here? 160 BE3 mixer and 122. Properly marked. It's a spaco. It's not a pinasco. Well. Oh, the next thing is, you may know my other guide about the biggest bungling of Piaggio ever. The second reason for drowning engines, flooded engines, is that this lid here is leaking because of the combination of a wrong lid and a wrong filter chamber. You need to ensure that there is a gap between the lid and the thread. You see this gap here? I would try it without the gasket, rubber gasket ring, because it is easier than to show the problem, the issue. The issue is, you see now, the lid sits on the carburetor chamber, and what happens? It sits in the middle and it wiggles to the outside because the thread is too high. There are different kind of these lids, and these two parts obviously don't fit together because the thread is too high, or the lid is too low. It should be higher. Proper gap should be there. You see, it wiggles, and the problem is, with one screw you have to make a certain kind of pressure on the outside that it is tight, that no fuel is sweating out here. And if it sits in the middle too high and it wiggles, or the rubbering shrinks, it is for sure that this carburetor with this lid and this filter chamber will gonna start leak, and this will cause a flooded engine and especially warm starting problems. How you solve the issue with these two parts? You just take a rasp and lower it so that the lid properly sits on this edge, and then you solved this potential flooded engine issue. What's next to be checked? That's the most important drill on the carburetor, because it feeds the whole carburetor. This hole goes to the main jet stock and to the main jet here. The idle jet does not have a fuel supply. It gets the fuel, but in the middle on the main jet stock. So you need to ensure that this size here is 2.5 millimeters at least. Yeah, sure, we only use main jets up to 140, 145, so 1.5 millimeters, but there's low pressure, there's vacuum kind of in the carburetor, so this drill needs to be way bigger. How can you do that? You already see, if you compare the drill to a standard carburetor, that it is indeed widened. So take a drill. I'm too lazy to look for it now. I know that the size looks well here. Take a drill, the 2.5 millimeter drill, and put it in And then you look inside. Here, this bore, I cannot show it on video, and check if this hole is properly drilled through. I heard from cases where it was not drilled through, so this means there was still a bottleneck preventing the carburetor in the engine from getting enough fuel, and that may size the cylinder. That's not what we want. Guys, if you liked what you saw, don't forget to subscribe. Still got some story to tell. Still got some story to tell. Get some ideas. And you know the BFA 306 is coming up. And after that I'm gonna make a 177 cylinder test. You know, everybody can exchange a lot of exhausts, but isn't it also interesting to see how, with the same exhaust, same engine, same cylinder timings, different cylinders do perform? I'm really curious about that. So, have a good one. See you. Cheers. 2.5 meter or two. Let's widen the drill. Add a new carburetor. That's the main jet stock holder. This is the main jet, the mixer tube and the air corrector. And the only connection from the fuel chamber to the main stock holder is this drill. It is exactly below the main jet. So the whole fuel goes through this board. You have to make sure that this drill is at least 2.5 millimeter. In an original carburetor it is only 1.5, and that is way too small. So this remains a bottleneck and the carb does not get enough fuel. This means he is never settable. You can do whatever you want, you can make the jet bigger and bigger, but it won't help because the carburetor does not get enough fuel. And now we are going to extend this drill. No. We are now going to widen this drill to 2.5 millimeter, which is needed because this is the carburetor for a Quattrini long stroke setup. As we're gonna drill from this side, you need to protect this edge of the fuel chamber. And just take a strong tape and put it over this edge. What you need is a flexible shaft extension and 2.5 millimeter drill and a holder for this size. That was it. So how much is it? It is, I'll measure that later on. But you really feel after some resistance where you drill that you fall into a bigger room, and that's when you should stop. Otherwise you will break through. Don't go too deep, otherwise you will make a hole at the bottom of the carburetor. Yeah, that was already it. If you go too deep, we'll make a hole here. And I mean, you can glue it then, but it's kind of tricky that the glue doesn't go in and blocks the other channels and so on. How does it look inside after drilling? It of course has to be cleaned. Get another idea. How about coloring the end of the drill and then putting it into the hole. There we go. And now we should put some sticky tape onto the drill to mark how deep you go. It is in total 12 millimeters. I would say For drilling it's about 50-60%, so 5-6 millimeters and you're good and way on the safe side so that nothing can happen. Choke jet. Just one jet. One piece. This is the idle jet. We see that it has also a little air corrector, little mixer tube, little main jet, but it is also in one piece. And it's the main stock holder. We have the air corrector, we have the mixer tube and the main jet. You can disassemble it. Air corrector, mixer tube, main jet. How is carburetor cleaning done? Ultrasonic cleaner? Yes. Possible. Not really needed. The most important thing is to use compressed air. Blow all the channels. Not only blow the channels, block the other end. Because there are often more.
Ein Biest!
Sorry, ja.
Bist du deppert, ist das ein Biest jetzt?